He knows what's going on here. And let's get back to everyone before I miss something else. And this is the massive Zerg army, and we're gonna have a Doom drop. What do these overlords have in them? Ultralisk. So we're gonna have Ultralisk just pop out. Hydra also securing his own expansion, and there's another Ultra on the way. Marines level, weapons level 2, and a sensor tower. When these Ultras are gonna fall down. Oh, but a couple of Thors are out, and the Thors will be able to do a lot of damage to these overlords, and that means that, oh my god, Fungal Growth going down on the Marines, and there comes the Ultra. A lot of Ultras, a few Ultras probably died in the drop, but a lot of them coming down and just attacking this planetary fortress. The planetary fortress falling, a lot of Ultras falling over here. Terran Marines, because the Thors have managed to do a lot of damage. The Raven spotting doing its job, probably dropping these auto turrets. The damage still going on. Will the Ultras hold the Thor wins? Will the Ultras hold the Thor wins? But with a lot of these Hellions, I think the Ultras win, and 2 Thor survive with 29 and 19 HP. That was a close battle, a very close battle indeed for both these players. Let's check out the units lost tab. All those Ultras showing, because now Hydra is behind. We'll see if Seonji actually manages to pull a win, because that was a very, very important loss. But if we look at the production tab, 12 Ultralisks on the way, and Carapace level 3, which will make those Ultras all that stronger. So this is what I don't like about Zerg players. They can macro up really fast and get their army really fast back up. Seonji deciding to attack with these Hellions, but sadly getting surrounded by the Zerglings, who did not engage earlier, and taking out all those Hellions. Unit lost tab, it's slowly evening out, but not so much. Trying to secure another expansion. It's still in the air for Seonji, but the Zerglings can't pretty much do anything about it. Very nice creep drop. If the creep spreads around here, he won't be able to land, but we shall see a lot of these SCVs long distance mining. And if we look at the income, Hydra is soaring ahead despite being behind, a little behind in the unit lost tab. He is still ahead in the income, and if he gets this fully saturated, he will just soar. And that is a lot of Ultras. How many Ultras do we have here? A scan going down probably saw those Ultras. Both players maxed out right now at the army. 15 Ultras. If we look at the income, we have 75 and 86 Harvesters. Those are a lot of Harvesters. A few Vikings gonna take out, probably gonna try and supply block Hydra. Let's see what happens with this big and massive fight. Won't even my computer manage to see it all. The tanks shooting, the Ultras just coming in, plowing through everything. There are Marauders and there are Thors backing up. There are tanks on the high ground just hitting and hitting and hitting. Will this line hold out? The tanks in the front line just falling. The Marauders stimming and going back, stimming and going back. The Thors are holding their line as well. One Thor going down, but a lot of Ultras have gone down. There are only, how many? 5 Ultras, I think, or 4 or 5 Ultras here. So that means that from 15, 10 Ultras died. So that is a lot of income. So that means, again, 5,000 resources behind Hydra. We do have a few Infestors, and if we look at the production tab, not pause, production, that's D. We have 6 more Ultras on the way. Carapace level 3 is almost done. Melee attacks level 3. I need an Ultra to click on. There we go. 4, and once that kicks in, we're gonna have a lot of damage, and we have a Spire going down. So that means that we might see a transition into the ever popular and deadly Broodlords. And considering that I think the Broodlords do outdistance the Thors, the Broodlords will be able to do a lot of damage since there are no Marines and only a few Vikings. Let's check out the both players already maxed out again. There are 6 Vikings on the map, so we'll see how that comes into play. The Vikings, I guess, took out an expansion here. I didn't manage to get out, but another encounter here. Fungal Growth on the Thors and the tanks. The Ultras now finally able to get a nice round, doing a lot of damage, and all these Marauders are forced to run around, and I don't think that they can do any much with once their Thor friends are died. A Fungal Growth on the Marauders, but the Planetary Fortress is here to do a lot of damage, so we have more Marauders reinforcing, and the Planetary Fortress needs to be repaired. All these SCV needs to be pulled back and repair it, and he does manage to do that, and the Ultras try to fall back. Phew, this is a high intensive game. If we look on the map, there are sentry towers. I'm going to try and pay attention more to the map and see what action we have. Back on the army tab, Hydra is still maxed out while Seonji is at 133 supply. He is desperately trying to regain his army. We'll see if he does. We have bunkers, so static defenses will be into play. Sadly, Seonji is on the defensive right now. We have Vikings moving out in here, scanning what's going on. He won't be able to land because the ultras are here, but he is trying to chase down these overlords and supply block Hydra, which is brilliant play from him, but he stops. I don't know why he stopped. You should move on just a little. I don't see. Does Seonji? Oh, he sees the Nidus network. That was really good for Seonji. Scouting that Nidus network, scanning here and making sure that that was a Nidus network, so he knows to expect incoming Zerg forces from anywhere. This expansion is finally done here. And very bad timing because the Zerglings are going to move in, get us around, and it's going to have to cancel and lift up. So that means that expansion is going to delay it, and the Vikings have finally moved in here, and they're going to start attacking these overlords. But there is a queen here attacking the Vikings, and there is an infestor fungal growthing the Vikings, so the overlords manage to move out of the way while the queen continues to do damage. One Viking goes down. So I don't think that Hydra is supply blocked, not a chance in hell. If we look at the production tab, corruptors are on the way, so those brood lords might come into play. Let's see, there are no more Vikings, 2 more Vikings on the way, my bad. So it depends on how many brood lords he gets, and if he has enough to defend those brood lords from the Vikings. We have a big bio ball here with tanks supporting it and a medevac. Finally, we have Hellions with double damage. We have the tanks with double damage, and here comes another big encounter. The tanks are just shelling the things away. Now, will the infestors put down Fungal Growth? Fungal Growth is on, so all these units are stuck here. And what will they able to do enough damage? All these infested marine eggs coming in here to soak up some damage. The shells from the tanks are going down. I don't know. This is really too close to call, but all these ultralists have full health. Look at how many ultras haven't even been touched, so just plowing through the Terran force. And I think now we have, oh my god, we have 8 more ultralists on the way. And if we look at the resources lost, 27,000 and 24,000, this is a high level game, and the corruptors are going to take down the medevac. So I guess these corruptors are not going to be morphing into broodlords, even though they have only been brought up to take care of the Vikings. And so far they're doing a pretty good job because corruptors do have 200 health and 200 energy, and they are able to do a lot of damage. Meanwhile, we have Vikings chasing down overlords all across the map, taking down that poor overlord. But Hydra probably has a few overlords over cap, I think. So he's not going to be supply blocked that easily. A new expansion going down because his main is mined out. A good idea would be to probably move this orbital command somewhere. Hydra's main is mined out as well. His expansion is almost done. Both players still mining that high yield. However, Seonji's high yield is almost done while Hydra is pretty full. This base full and this base as well, while poor Seonji is only on 2 base and a very dwindling high yield. I think that Hydra is in the advantage right now, even though the units lost tab is very similar for both players, taking out that SCV. Let's see what else do we have on production. So far Hydra is not producing anything, so everything right now is just going into banking resources. And look at that, 5,000 minerals and 200 gas, 2,000 gas I mean. While the Terran player doesn't have any banking minerals, he's forced to resupply and reforge his army. If we look at the army tab, finally the Terran is full at 200 to 100, and so is Hydra. And there are the deadly broodlords. I hate these things. They are so hard to fight. There aren't even any Thors out, so Thors won't be able to take out that damage, take out those broodlords. There are a few Vikings, so Vikings will be able to fight against the broodlords, but I don't see how much damage they will be able to do. And there is that Nidus network. If he sees it, he's gonna have to move out, and if he moves out, these ultralists will be able to come into play. Does he even see this? Is he even paying attention to the map? I know he sees it. I know he has venture. Land your Viking, land your Viking. Oh my god, the Nidus network is up, and all these ultras just coming in, and sadly this expansion is dead. It forced to cancel it, and I suppose that he's gonna have to lift off. Don't you hero Viking, and the Nidus network survives. So these missile turrets, and that means 1 expansion lost for poor Seonji, and that is bad because if we look at the income tab right now, Hydra is in the head, even though he has fewer harvesters. fewer harvesters. Now all these Marauders moving in here to fight the Ultras, and since there is no fungal growth, they will be able to do some good damage with Micro. If we look at the APM, 300 for Hydra, 255 for Seonji. This is a very close battle. The Planetary Fortress also helping in on the action, and the repairs are going down. Meanwhile, I suppose these Vikings went after the Broodlords. Yes, the Broodlords. I don't see any Broodlords out there. No, there aren't any Broodlords. There are some Corruptors, so they managed to take out that threat for now. But the Corruptors are going to come up, and a lot of Corruptors are probably going to be morphed into Broodlords as well. So we'll see how Seonji manages to fight this army on the ground with all these Ultras and Lynx and even Broodlords on the map and Corruptors to defend the skies. His army is getting split. We finally have Terran Vehicle Weapons level 3 and 2 Broodlords on the way. Army size fairly equal, and we have all these Zerglings moving in, all these idle SCVs. What are they doing? They should get back onto mining or repairing or something, and they're gonna just get us around on the Planetary Fortress, but the Planetary Fortress is being repaired, but the Ultras start kicking in, and all this damage the SCVs can't repair that fast, and the Planetary Fortress dies, so all these Ultras are gonna kick in. Seonji is moving in from behind, wisely pulling off a few Ultras to hold his army back while a lot of SCVs are getting killed. And now will this army be able to hold down? He does have Medivacs, so Medivacs will be able to heal, but there aren't that many Marauders. There are only a few tanks, and the tanks are getting taken out, and these poor Vikings can do nothing but watch. And he needs to pull off, and he needs to repair this Planetary Fortress and try to cause as much damage to Hydra as possible, because right now he's not mining. He's only on one base, so he needs to take out as much as he can from Hydra's units and stall so he can get back up. But I don't think that's gonna be it, because Hydra is right now in the lead. Hydra has 4 Ultras on the way, and poor Seonji is only mining off of one base. Even though he has 2 free spots, he's only long distance mining, while Hydra is at 1, 2, and 3 bases. If we look at the income, Hydra is clearly ahead. Army wise, he is clearly ahead, double the army size. Broodlords coming in, taking out the poor tanks, the poor missile turrets, and now he's gonna take out these tanks. So Broodlords are annoying as always, taking out the anti-air from a distance, and Seonji is forced to call a GG, and Hydra wins the game. I'm not even going to comment on it because it was just too epic to watch. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next episode.